all of the risk and none of the reward. This was one of the comments that was put on yesterday's piracy show. And it stuck out to me because, it's mirrored a comment almost exactly that someone had made over the weekend on the Scum Discord, basically talking about, they're putting in all these systems to limit pirate activity in Star Citizen as a game. But where is the pirate activity? Interesting question. Now, we've seen little bits and pieces of pirate activity put in the game. There are certain missions where you can go and raid a bunker, and instead of being criminals in it, it's Hurston security. You can smuggle cargo from one place to another. We've seen that. I've featured it on the show many, many, many times. And, there are other pirate missions that are, well, not really pirate missions, but more criminal missions that are somewhat dubious in their rewards. Certainly with the new crime stat and the hacking system, hacking a satellite is kind of a losing proposition because, you get 6,500 credits, but then you have to spend at least 3,000 credits on a Walesko, go to Korea, and remove your crime stat. And certainly with the upcoming prison feature, it's going to be much more important to do things like this. And so we are at a point now where we have tilted things so far anti-crime. And not intentionally. I don't think that this is CIG going like, only this group opinion matters, and all these players who want the open world PvP game, which is how Star Citizen was originally packaged and sold. There was going to be open world PvP in Star Citizen, not everywhere and not at every location, but there certainly was going to be a space for it. We have kind of moved to a place where we're, in a way, I feel that we're smothering gameplay now. Like, we're kind of leaning a little too heavily on the penalties, but where are the outlets? I mean, we're kind of getting to a point where there's simply all these hassles and no benefits, so you might as well just go around and haul stuff, and then maybe that's not what you want to do. I think that, a fair argument can be made that certainly having all these systems in place is a good thing. Certainly in a system like Stanton. Whereas in a system like Pyro, off in the future, hopefully not too distant, you can see how it's going to be a different environment, and so the rules will be different. And so, yes, this might be the way Stanton is, and committing acts of piracy within Stanton should be very problematic. But in a system like Pyro, it's going to be a little bit easier, right? I can understand all those arguments and I can get behind them. But I feel that, at the same time, we're maybe being just a little too heavy-handed with the penalties right now, because not because I'm sitting here saying as a pirate, like, I don't want to pay at the price. I just want to go out and I want to ruin everybody's day and have fun. That's how I, get off. No, it's like, we really haven't developed anything with piracy. We really haven't taken it anywhere. Yeah, you can hack crime stat, but it's kind of a hassle. And there are different variations on that we've discussed many, many times, including bringing a dead ship like the Herald back to life via that system, only to be answered with silence. And so in a way, you can kind of go like, okay, maybe they're busy, maybe they're working on something else, and so who knows, maybe that's something that's coming down the pipe. They have limited time. They've obviously got this Squadron 42 thing that is probably just going to linger forever. They have limited development resources that they can allocate to these things, and maybe these things will get attention later. And I think that some of them are fairly low-hanging fruit, things that they could easily do, or things that they could at least get a tier 0 implementation into the game and make functional and make it more in-depth and more rewarding. But once again, limited resources. But it's at times like that, when I think that way, every once in a while something happens that reminds me that maybe they aren't really thinking about it all that much. One of the big new upcoming features is the ability to eat food, space candy bars, and ordering food soon from the restaurants in the game. And I, for one, can tell you that is certainly fulfilling my gameplay dreams. Yes. That's actually one of my favorite parts of the actual survival game Scum is managing my caloric intake. So much fun, so much reward, running short on vitamin E. Uh-oh. Yay, so much action. When I see that they're working on this stuff, and I'm like, really? And no one was like, hey, let's put a little more effort into hacking. Let's get those tractor beams in the game. Let's get some of those NPC haulers in the game, because maybe that will help ease tensions. If players are busy out hunting money, blowing up NPC haulers and stealing their cargoes, and then taking them to places like Orinth or Samson and Sons and pawning them off on the black market as was intended, though never completed, then I think that we would get into a much more fair and balanced place. But of course, we have to set that all aside to make sure that players can eat a Snickers bar in space. Super important. Now, in all fairness, if someone from CIG were to say, hey, I hear you, but this is the stuff that we're doing for Stanton right now. Once we get the Pyro system in, we're really going to go in deep on a lot of these pirate systems. And that could very well be the outcome. That could very well be CIG's plan. Once we get to Pyro, yeah, we're going to come up with hacking. We're going to come up with tractor beams for stealing like large amounts of cargo without having to, when they showed that footage of the Freelancer blowing up and all the little crates coming out of it, and there's probably some people who are like, yay, finally piracy. And I was looking at it and I just went like, oh God, am I going to have to pick up each and every one of those crates one by one by one? So not worth it. So shitty. When am I going to have a tractor beam? That sort of thing. If that's CIG's plan, if they're saying, once we get into Pyro, we are going to go in deep in a lot of these pirate systems, and the reason why we're doing all these, law and order systems is because Stanton is a law and order system. It's a civilized system, so it's not supposed to be easy for you to do piracy here, and piracy is something that would probably more take place in a system like Pyro. I can totally get it, and I can even get behind it, but just say that. Just tell me that. And then I can go like, okay, this makes sense. You know what? I can get behind this. I see where you're going. All right, cool. You're on a timetable. This is what you're going to do. Cool. But when I don't know what you're doing, and I'm sitting here and I'm seeing all these systems heaping up on one side of the scale and then nothing to counterbalance it, and then you're like, but oh, by the way, we spent resources so that you can eat a candy bar in space. Come on. It's like, meet me halfway here, guys. Meet me halfway here. It almost seems like you're kind of wandering around aimlessly looking for a landing pad. And, like any port in a storm. Hearing about the upcoming features of 3.9, cool. We're going to be able to eat food? Interesting. We're going to be able to do this, that, and the other thing. Oh, we're going to be able to land at Babbage. Okay, cool. That's all nice stuff. But at the same time, when you're talking about prisons and stuff, I would love to hear about what you're bringing in with Pyro. Talk about some of the pirate systems that you're going to be developing, because pirate gameplay currently in Star Citizen, it sucks. It really, really sucks. And you know what? There's not that many rewards to playing the game currently, and we're really heaping up on the penalties. And so you kind of get to a point of, what's the point of playing the game?
Thank you for watching. So if you want to keep up with the latest and greatest in Star Citizen and Squadron 42's development, please follow us on our social media channels. See you soon.